American businessman Ronald Lauder is one of the world's strongest Jewish voices. Educated in Paris and here in Brussels, he's been a strong spokesman for Israel and against anti-Semitism. He's also now speaking out against Christian persecution as well. Julie Stahl recently sat down with Lauder for an exclusive interview in Jerusalem. Here's part of that interview.
Ron Lauder, welcome to Jerusalem Dateline. We're glad to have you with us.
Delighted to be here this morning.
There's a growing anti-Semitism in the world. What's behind that?
There's two types. The first type is the anti-Israel feeling. People say, I'm not anti-Semite, I'm just anti-Israel. We find that mainly in Western Europe, where you have a great deal of Muslim populations who are stirring the pot, and is talking about the Israel-Palestinian area. And then you have a different type of anti-Semitism, and that is in Eastern Europe. It's because of what's happened financially in the world. When bad times come about, extremes come up. And these extremes have to blame somebody for the problems. And they're blaming the Jewish people once again. We see the same recurrence we saw in the 1930s, and it's very scary. But there's also an anti-Christian feeling. We've seen that also coming out. We've seen it in the Middle East particularly, when churches are burned, when people are killed. People are scared.
What's the response of the Jewish community, the Christian community?
World Jewish Congress, of which I am honored to be president, is working very, very hard with the various governments saying this cannot be. And one of the things we are speaking about, and I spoke about in Jerusalem several weeks ago, to a wonderful group of people, great Christian evangelists, I said to them, look, we, the Jewish people, will no longer be silent. Will no longer be silent when churches are burnt, when Coptic Christians are killed just because they're Coptic Christians.
Now this speech that you made at the Christian Embassy, that was somewhat unprecedented.
I didn't realize it was unprecedented when I gave it. After the speech, many people came to me and said, we've never heard a Jewish leader speak like this. I didn't realize it. I just talked from my heart. And I talked because of the fact that various groups, various Christian groups, have been the biggest supporters of Israel. We all share Jerusalem and its value. And as we walk in the streets, we know it's the place where your Lord walked. And that's so important. That's our history, that's our foundation. And we must do everything we can to protect it.
It seems to be blossoming, the relationship between Jews and Christians right now. Why do you think it's happening now?
I think there's two reasons. Number one, we realize we have a common goal, and we realize we have perhaps a common enemy. And the second aspect is there is a feeling that something must be done, because if you allow this to go, it gets worse and worse. And every time something's done, be it to Jews or to Christians, it hurts us all. We must work together.